Oh man. Good morning. Are we in frame? I think we are. It is bright outside. I have iced coffee this morning, even though it's not snowing anymore, but it was snowing this morning. This morning, April 19th, 2022, was snowing, and I have iced coffee because I made too much coffee yesterday, and waste not, want not. So I knew I wouldn't drink half the pot that I made yesterday, so I just put it in the fridge for this morning. But welcome, good morning. It is podcast day. I'm not wearing like a full face of makeup or anything, but I decided to put a little bit of eyeshadow on my lash line because as a redhead, my eyelashes are fair. And I felt like I could use a little bit of definition. We'll see how that goes. And I put a little bit of slightly tinted lip balm on. And that's about it. But we're podcasting today. I'm actually thinking that I will podcast and then I will immediately film an intro video to my channel with like some facts about me, like telling about who I am and what my channel is. But for now, I can tell you that this channel is a comfy, casual little space where we talk about crafty things, mostly fiber crafts, everything from knitting and crochet to cross stitch to sewing to whatever I feel like picking up at the moment. Today we have almost exclusively knitting content for you. I already said it was April 19th. It is Tuesday. It's been a weekend. I really would like to get the hang of podcasting without having to edit as much as I do, but I cannot get myself to not do that, to have long pauses where I think about my words, because I don't want to just blather on at the mouth without thinking about what I'm going to say, which I do sometimes. I have shot myself in the foot many times on many occasions because I did not think before I spoke, and I have memory problems. That is something that both neurodivergence and trauma will do for you. So I have lots of pauses and ums and stuff to edit out of my videos. I would love to get to the point where I didn't have to edit. But here we are today in a normal situation, normal podcasting situation. I'm going to talk to you guys. It's going to be casual. It's going to be fine. I thought about vlogging this week, but I don't know. I was in the mood for a full-blown podcast. So here we are. I have no finished objects since last week, and I have several whips. Not all of the whips I showed last week have been touched since last week. I've only brought the whips that I have actively been working on since the last podcast. That is normal for this space. I only talk about things that I've actively been working on. I have a small acquisition, and acquisitions segment. I have a couple of acquisitions. And I have one old project that I brought back out to show you an update on. And I guess I will also give you a life update. I have to sneeze. Oh my goodness. They usually come in twos. So I'm waiting for it. Maybe not. Okay. Back to it. Can we talk about how it was snowing this morning and I'm like low-key real mad about it? I'm so ready for all of my plants to start. I have started in separate little containers inside the house several of those plants I want to plant this year, and I went ahead and put them out in pots outside because I knew we'd probably only get like one more frost and I'd be able to bring them inside when it did. But I'm still mad that it happened. Even though I prepared appropriately, I'm still mad it happened. I'm ready for spring to be sprung. I'm just done with the snow. All right, let's get into whips. Since I don't have any finished objects, we'll do those first. First things first, we'll start with socks. Because I don't remember exactly where I was last time you saw these, but I have been working on 2 pairs of socks, and they are both stripy. If you saw the last episode, you will have seen the starts of these, but I have finished an entire sock of my Balrog of Morgoth socks. These socks are a sock set from Tiny Human Knits. Oh wow, it's a mess in here. Big mess. Here we go. Tiny Human Knits, the Balrog of Morgoth. And this yarn is just lovely. I love Tiny Human Knits yarn. It's always a pleasure to work with. It is an 80/20 2-ply. But yeah, the whole sock is done, and I have started a teeny tiny little bit of the second sock. Just got into the first bit of gray. I wanted these to match. I was a little bit off. You see this black section up here is a bit thicker than the other one. About 2 rounds, maybe longer. Brad will not notice. I will not change anything. I'm just going to continue knitting to about the same place in the yellow stripe before starting the switching from cuff to leg. When they're on, no one will notice. It's hard to guess exactly how much in a self-striping skein, like how much of the yarn you need to get a certain number of rounds. Unless it's a full stripe or exactly a half a stripe, which is what I did here. I pulled out exactly half a stripe and it gave me a little too much yarn, but that's fine. The Balrog of Morgoth. It was a sock set. I got 100 grams of the main self-striping color because I want to do 2 pairs, one for Brad and one for me. And then it came with a little tonal black mini that is exactly the same as the black in the stripes, as the black stripes in the main yarn. I'm gonna focus, there we go. I won't have enough of this mini to do 2 pairs, but I will use another color for my pair of socks. I will do an orange or a yellow or red, something fun. That will also make it easier for me to tell the difference between the 2 pairs of socks. I can tell you a little bit about, first, I always forget to say this before, but I have project pages linked below. I don't have individual project pages linked, I just have one link for my page of projects on Ravelry where you can see all of my projects, and any ones that you have a question about, they're on there. So if I forget to say anything, needle sizes, the name of designers, the name of yarn dyers, any name of yarn colors, anything like that, it'll all be linked below. But this is not a pattern. This is the vanilla sock recipe that I use for Brad. And for him, I do either a 1x1 or 2x2 cuff. It depends on my mood. I did 1x1 here for however many rounds I feel like doing. Sometimes it is a set number of rounds. In this case, it is a set number of stripes. And then I go into a 3x1 rib for the leg and down the top of the foot. And then the bottom of the foot is stockinette. And I do his 68 stitches on a size US 1 2.25 millimeter needle every time. And I knit his foot 66 rounds long this time and decreased the toe to 16 stitches on each needle, so 32 stitches. If you're interested in that, I also do a fish lips kiss heel for pretty much every pair of socks I do. If I forget to say, it's a fish lips kiss heel. Brad wears a US size 10 men's foot shoe. He has a US size 10 men's foot, wears a US size 10 men's shoe. That's it. And that's it for that. That was a lot of blather on about that sock. I'm trying to give you guys more information here in the podcast. All of it is always in Ravelry, but I'm trying to say more of it in the podcast. I have one more pair of socks to show. Oh, I also didn't tell you. The Balrog socks, the Balrog socks are in this Woodsy and Wild octopus bag. And I have a little, my progress keeper where I was keeping track of rounds is a skeleton cookie from Simply Serving. It is backwards, there we go. There we go, skeleton cookie from Simply Serving. And then this pair of socks is also in a Woodsy and Wild bag. This one is pink flowers. And the progress keeper on here is just a gold sandstone progress keeper that I made using some childhood jewelry. And this is a pair of socks that were a mystery sock set from Northwoods Fibers this month. Northwoods Fibers, the color is called Painted Desert. And if you received, or if you ordered this mystery sock set and have not received it yet or do not want spoilers, do not watch for the next bit. I said I would remind you last time and I forgot, but I will actually try to remember to remind you this time when I'm done showing it, but I'm showing it now. I have finished one sock of my Painted Desert socks. And this color is so good. So pleased with this. Look how rich this red is. Insane. I have also started the little second sock of this one. This is just the cuff. I just started the leg. There we go. And these I'm also trying to match. I don't normally bother making my socks match, but I just felt like it. I follow my heart. This was a sock set. So it came with the self-striping main skein 100 grams and also came with a contrasting mini, which is this red color, gorgeous, rich red color. That's the same as the red stripe in the main yarn. My camera is having a really hard time focusing today, and I hate it. There we go. Now these are for me, and these are knit in my vanilla sock formula for myself, which is 64 stitches on a size US 1 2.25 millimeter needle or size 0. It depends. I follow my heart depending on how the yarn feels. The difference isn't that great. But yes, 64 stitches. I do a 2x2 cuff for either 15 or 20 rounds. This one I did 3 stripes. And then I knit the leg, fish lips kiss heel. I do 62 rounds for the length of the foot, and all in stockinette. I do Brad's ribbed because they fit his foot better, but I do mine in stockinette. But that's my vanilla sock formula, and I finished one and started the second, and I love these. I want to have both of these pairs of socks done by the end of the month before it's time for me to cast on my May striped socks. I am doing a full year of striped socks, where I'm doing a pair of striped socks every month. Neither of these pairs count. These are bonus pairs of striped socks. But I finished my April ones early, so there we go. Next whip, we'll do another Woodsy and Wild bag. This one is one of the shawl size bags. It's got wildflowers. I think they're foxgloves on it and a zipper, which isn't my preferred. I usually prefer drawstring bags, but I couldn't resist the pattern on this one. And I love it. I just have to be more mindful when putting things in it. But in here is my envelope cowl. This is a pattern by Samantha Guerin. I think I actually do have a page I can show you. It is a pattern by Samantha Guerin, envelope. It is an infinity loop cowl with a honeycomb texture and stripes alternately. And I actually got a good bit of work done on this. Last time you saw it, oh, I don't have enough slack here. There we go. Last time you saw it, it was about here, I think. And I finished this entire section of honeycombs and the next section of stripes and started the last section of honeycombs. There are going to be 3 full sections of honeycombs and 3 sections of stripes. So I just have to finish 1 more set of honeycombs and then 1 of these white stripes, because I already have 1 white stripe and a main color stripe down here at the bottom, where they will be Kitchenered together and we'll make a wrap or a cowl. I love how this is turning out. This has just been fun to pick up when I don't want pure vanilla knitting, and I can't wait to see it block all perfectly like smooth, because it's like it bulbs out a little bit here because this is vanilla and this is a honeycomb texture, or this is stockinette and this is a honeycomb texture. So it like cinches in a little bit at the honeycomb, but once I block it, it'll open up. And I have made it to the 2nd skein of my main color and the 3rd and 4th balls of my 2nd color. The main color I'm using is Spin Cycle Dyed in the Wool in the Space Oddity colorway. It is really fun, really gorgeous. The contrast color is 2 strands of a mohair type yarn, lace weight, fluffy yarn. And I am using Camarose Midnight Sol in the color LYS Beige. And this is a gorgeous mohair alternative. There is no mohair in it. It is 54% baby alpaca, 36% tinsel, and 10% merino. And I will never stop talking about how much I love this yarn. I love it so much. I have like a little stash of it, and I will always keep it around. It's incredible, amazing. But yeah, that's how far I got on that. I'm really pleased with the progress I'm making on this. I would like to finish this week sometime. I might make it my like morning knitting so I get a little bit done on it every day. But if I could get this done this week, that would be amazing. I have 2 projects I really want to get done this week because I want to clear some needles. Just want to clear some needles, and that's fine. And this is the first one of those 2. The second project that I would like to finish this week is also one you've seen before, but is has had a good bit of, maybe not a good bit of work done on it, but enough for me to show you. It is my Seaborn tee. It is now in this bag. I've switched my bags around a little bit. I really need to make a new project bag. I have some really gorgeous fabric bits that I can make another bag out of, and I even made a bag front. I made like a quilted block to use as the front of a bag. I have some stuff. I need to make a new bag. But this is one I made. I hand sewed this using vintage fabrics, and I quilted it with embroidery floss. And yes, my Seaborn tee. This is a pattern by Hannah of Herb Garden Knitwear. It is a summery, warm weather type garment, short sleeved, slightly cropped, and it's made out of 100% cotton. I am using Juniper Moon Neve, that's NEVE, in the colors Hot Espresso and Limelight. They're a lot of fun. I'm gonna have so much of this color left over. I literally have 4 rounds left to knit with this. I also am gonna have a ton of this left over because I had this much left over from what I finished last night, and this is an entirely full skein caked up, and I only have 1 more sleeve left to do, which is not a lot. I'm gonna have a ton left over. I'm gonna have to make, it's cotton though. I don't know what I'm gonna make with it, but I'm gonna need to use it somehow. But anyways, let me show you instead of just talking about it. Here's my Seaborn tee. Some glorious little yarn indie bits here. I think the last time you saw it, I was just done with the body and had connected the sleeves or the shoulder seams together. But since then, I had picked up for the collar, and you just do like 3 or 2, you do this little garter bump ridge here, and you basically just knit a couple of rounds to give the collar some structure. So I did that, and I also did a sleeve, which I think turned out really cute. I was a little bit nervous about it because I did this thing with the body that the pattern did not call for. Please don't make the same mistake as me. But normally on patterns, whether it calls for it or not, I will always give myself a selvage. And you can still see it over here because there's no sleeve. But I always give myself a selvage when knitting flat on garments like this, because I like being able to see the stitches that I have. But in this case, you knit the sleeve and you attach it kind of as you go. And because I had given myself a selvage, the numbers, like the rate of attaching that she gave in the pattern, I had to like do conversions because I gave myself a selvage edge. It wasn't that difficult because realistically a selvage edge, every one stitch you see is actually two rows. So it should have been easy math, but it still like made me a little bit nervous. I wanted to make sure that like, I don't know, it would all fit without being like bunched up in one section, but it worked. I just went for it and it worked. And I only did 2 green stripes on the sleeve. I think in the pattern, the sample that she knit had 3, but I like the length of this. I think the shoulder is going to be slightly dropped, so it's going to reach pretty far down. That's my elbow here. So yes, I need to try it on to double check and make sure the sleeve is perfect and that the collar is great. But it's turning out wonderfully. And I did this entire sleeve and connected it last night sitting on the couch. So I would like to finish this entire top this week, since I just have 1 sleeve left and weaving at ends. I do have a few bit of ends because of all my little stripes. But I'm excited for it to be so close to being finished. It's so heavy. I love it. I'm not gonna try to put that back in the bag right now. It's getting a little bit big for that bag too. That's what I need to knit is, sew is a larger bag for sweaters and stuff. I only have 1 more whip. Is this going to be a shorter episode? Oh, I just want to mention my little waffle socks that I mentioned in the last episode. I have worked on those, but negligibly. They've been sitting at my computer desk, and so only like a row or 2 at a time here and there, so I didn't bring those over. But they are still getting worked on. The only other thing that I've been actively really working on is my trumpet pullover. There's like a piece of my skirt attached to it. My trumpet pullover. This is a gorgeous basic pullover, sweatshirt type sweater with a deep armhole and these gorgeous cable raglan details, a squishy folded over collar, oversized sleeves. Oh my gosh, it's looking so yellow on camera. It's a little more orangey in real life, but the yarn I'm using is so delicious. The pattern is a delight. It is a pattern by a designer whose name I will try not to butcher by not saying it at all. I will put it on the screen over here. And it was designed for Woolfolk for their Fleck collection. And this is a sport weight pullover. It is oversized and therefore is taking a while, but it's so much fun to knit on. It's still been getting a good bit of progress. Last time you saw it, it was about where this progress keeper is. So I have knit this far on the body, or this far on the body, and I think I'm getting pretty close to ribbing. I'm supposed to knit 8 inches on the body for the ribbing. I will try it on to make sure. I'm about at 6 inches and 3/4. So I only have 1 1/4 inches left before I try it on to verify that I can start the ribbing. But that is how much progress I got done on that. I am making the size 3 of this pullover. I do not know where I put the pattern, but I think it's a 48-inch bust. I have a 42-inch bust, so it gives me 6 inches of positive ease. And I am using Fiber for the People, the Hemp Merino Sport base. It is a 70% organic merino, and I believe it's non-superwash merino, and 30% hemp in the color Lantana. And this yarn is an absolute delight. Absolute delight. I am so excited. I still have 2 whole skeins left, plus the skein I'm working on. One of the skeins I have left looks a little bit lighter, so I don't know if it actually is, or if it, well, it definitely does on camera, or if it's just that section of the yarn that's sticking out. But I'm going to have to plan ahead to make sure I don't have a light sleeve and a dark sleeve. So what I plan on doing for this is, this should get me through the rest of the body and the ribbing, and then I'll have a skein each for each sleeve. I have left myself 2 equal bits from the skein that I used while I was separating the sleeves. So I will have a little bit of that color for each sleeve so that I can fade it into the next color. And for that one, I will use the darker skein here. I'll split this in half and I'll knit that on both sleeves. And then if I run out of this for both sleeves, I will fade into the lighter color and finish off with both sleeves with the lighter color. So it will be symmetrical in case they don't match. All of the other colors, like all of the other skeins, were perfect. Like they matched each other really great. I don't alternate skeins for hand-dyed yarn. I'm a lazy knitter. I'm a really lazy knitter. I alternate a little bit. What I do is I knit one color or one skein until there's about 15 or 20 grams left of that, and then I will alternate with the next skein for just the remainder of that yarn. So for a section, and then I'll keep going in the next yarn and I'll repeat that process. So it like fades into each other without me having to alternate the entire sweater. But these all look great. Like these colors, or the skeins of this color. These skeins all look really uniform. But I am nervous about that one lighter skein, so I will make sure to... My ice keeps talking and it scares me. I think there's a bug over here. But yes, I will make sure to alternate at the end of my sleeves. So I, if anything, will just have lighter sleeve tips, which is fine. As long as they match, it doesn't matter. And that is it for whips. I actually did sew a little bit on my skirt that I've been making for myself, but I didn't bring it up here because, okay, what it actually is. I'm hand sewing a skirt. It is a linen, a gorgeous like pumpkin colored linen skirt, and I am hand sewing it entirely. I did not use a pattern for it. I drafted my own pattern, and as my first sewn garment, that was probably a mistake. I've been struggling a bit with the whole process because I'm convinced it's because I didn't buy a pattern. It's because I tried to make my own with no experience drafting my own patterns. But I attached the waistband yesterday, but now I have to like make decisions about how to finish the waistband. The next steps all require ironing, so I just haven't brought it up here to do that. But I only stitched down half of the waistband, so it's really not all that much to show you. Maybe, since I've been in a little bit of a sewing mood, I will have more to show you next time. And now that I've said it out loud, I will feel obligated. But that's neither here nor there. Have you been able to see this little Reese's cup this whole time? Oh, I changed up my background just a little. I changed one thing in my background. You can see here, I have Aladdin and Jasmine over there. I used to have some Harry Potter books over there, and I didn't realize until I was editing my last video, because you know, you have stuff in your room and it just kind of becomes the background. I was editing last week and I realized that there were just Harry Potter books behind me and I didn't like it. I used to be a huge Harry Potter fan. I won't try to like get into confrontation with anybody, but I used to be a huge Harry Potter fan. Like, I am 32 years old. I grew up with Harry. As the books came out, I read them, waited in line at midnight for them to release, all that good stuff. Very, very big part of my growing up process, Harry Potter was. But since has been such a I have really become jaded with the whole franchise. I'm having really complicated feelings. I went through the same thing with several iconic franchises, but Harry Potter is probably the biggest one. So Brad had been buying me the illustrated copies of the books as they came out. He would buy me one every Christmas, and he got through year 3 before we both realized exactly the extent of the hatred of the parties involved. And so he stopped buying them for me. I kind of forgot they were sitting back here, but I don't want them like advertised on my... I'm at the point where I don't even know if I want them anymore, like if I want to donate them, but I also have like a hard time getting rid of things that I have sentimental connections with. I just haven't been able to get rid of them yet, but I also don't want them like advertised on my channel. So that's that's the only time I'm gonna mention it, but I did want to put out there that trans people matter, and there's no room in this house for ideas otherwise. Coffee. That iced coffee is really good. I am very proud of myself. I've been making quite a dent in my sweater quantity shelves. If I can finish my Seaborn tea soon, I'm gonna have another sweater quantity off of these shelves. I think when I'm done with that one, I don't know if I'm gonna work on a small like summer top or if I'm gonna go ahead and start my twinkle sweater. I don't know if I told you guys about my twinkle sweater, but oh Lord, tangled up. Ooh, there we go. Twinkle is a pattern by Midori Hirose. Oh my gosh. I opened Instagram and Tiny Human Knits had posted about a new colorway she just made, and it is beautiful. Anyways, Midori Hirose Twinkle pullover, sweater, whatever it's called, is a colorwork sweater that I will get to one day. It's this one. It is so cute and so fun. It's got like 3 colors as the main color and like a collar. And I've been wanting to knit this forever, and I have the yarn for it, and it's very special yarn. It is hand dyed from coast to coast. I have this color homespun quilt for the main color for the body. For the outline of the collar, I have this color called Pearl. And then for the fill of the collar, I have Petal. And I've been wanting to cast this on very badly. So I think when I'm done with my Seaborn tea, I'm going to start this. I also think when I'm done with my cowl, I might cast on another something. That might be another garment. It might not. I don't know yet. I might actually take that opportunity to start a little summer top, because that would fit in that bag. That would be good. All right, I have one update for you on a finished object, and this is one that I finished fairly recently. I have an update on my Veezy. I probably should have worn this today. I wore it on Sunday, Easter. We went to visit my grandparents for Easter, and I wore this. We took the dog and everything. It was nice. We ate dinner. It's starting to pill a little bit, which is fine. You always want if it's going to pill, you want that first pill to happen and then shave it and then it should be good. But honestly, it's not pilling that badly. Like for an armpit, doing pretty good. This is Brooklyn Tweed Arbor, by the way. The colors are Crumb and Butte. But the update on this is the sleeves. I knit them too long the first time. Both of these sleeves ended up going down to like here on me, and I do not like sleeves touching my wrists. I don't. So the first time I wore it, I had to roll the cuffs up, and it just wasn't the look I was looking for. Just wasn't it. So finally the other day I sat down, and what I did was I cut the cuff completely off and I pulled back all the way to the last increase and then sewed it back on. So yeah, all that extra knitting past the increase, it was probably a good 2 inches gone. And I did it for both sleeves, of course, because one of my arms isn't that much dramatically longer than the other. So I want them to match. And now it is perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. But that was it. I just wanted to let you guys know, because it seems like I will finish garments and there's always a little something that needs fixed or altered, changed, always. I don't know if that's because I'm a lazy knitter and I don't do as much measuring and checking as I go, or it's probably that, or what, or if that's just the nature of knitting. But there's several garments in my closet that need just like a little bit of something. I had my contrast sweater, my Halloween contrast sweater a couple years ago. I knit that one too short, and also the line where the color changed was too high up on my body. So I recently had to cut that sweater in half and knit longer and sew the bottom back on. I have a top, oh, it's on the other side of the room, my flutter butt shirt. I knit that and I loved it, but the head hole is too small. That one's not as easy a fix as cutting it across and sewing back on. I will have to take the sleeves off and undo the shoulder seams and probably take out the bind off of the neck and rebind it off in a stretchier manner. Yeah, that one's gonna be more of a pain. But it's starting to get warm and I want to wear it, so I'm gonna have to do something with it. The moral of the story is there's always something. Also, I did a ripple bralette, not a ripple bralette, a framework bralette last year that fits nicely, but the fabric, the nature of the fabric that I used, of the yarn that I used, is too stretchy. So what I actually need to do is put elastic in it. There's always something. There's always something. Very rarely does a pattern, a sweater come out, like a garment come out perfect the first time for me. And I just thought that was an important lesson, an important thing to share with you guys, because this one was pretty close to perfect. The sleeves were just a little bit long, and of all the things I would, that is what I would ask for, that the sleeves are just a little bit too long or a little bit too short, one of those. Sleeves are easy to fix, but it still wasn't perfect. And there you go. That's my little tidbit for you today. It's okay if your knits don't come out perfect. It's easy to fix them. What else was I gonna tell you about? I have not touched my Hello from My Colors crop. I have not touched my Irish Rover pullover. I don't even know. There's another bag over there. I don't even know what's in it. I know I talked about it last week, but I don't remember what it was. All I have left, I think, for yarn related things is a couple of acquisitions. I only have a couple of acquisitions today because I've been good. We spent a lot of money this weekend, but that is because Brad deserved it and he got a PC upgrade. We bought him a PC, a gaming PC, when we moved here because he's been wanting one for a long time and he deserved it. Like, he works really hard and that's what he wanted. He doesn't want very much. That was the thing he wanted. But we bought him a pre-built gaming PC. If you're not interested in this, I'm sorry, but I'll try to make it quick. We got him a pre-built gaming PC because he'd never had a PC before and we didn't really know exactly how, like, it was intimidating thinking about just building one from scratch. And he's had it for 1.5 years, I think, at this point. And we decided, well, we didn't decide, his friend across the country upgraded his graphics card and decided that he wanted to give it to Brad, his old one to Brad, which is a considerable upgrade from his current graphics card in his current pre-built computer. He ended up selling it to him for like really cheap because Brad refused to take it for free. But isn't it nice to have friends like that? But anyways, his new graphics card came in and it wouldn't fit in the housing of his pre-built. So we decided that we were gonna just buy him a new housing, and while we were at it, we were gonna buy him a new power supply because his pre-built power supply was right on the edge of probably too low for his new graphics card. So we got a new power supply, a new housing, and we took apart his pre-built, took the motherboard and all the other things we needed out of that one and built him a new PC, but that cost money. It was not as much as buying a new PC, of course, but it was still basically all of our extra like fun money for the month. So I haven't bought all that much, but I still bought something, and it is, oh gosh, boring. We'll start with the most boring to the most exciting. But I bought some elastic. I know, very exciting. This is just 1/4 inch elastic, 8 yards of it, but I'm going to use this in my framework bralette. Very exciting, so that it keeps its shape around. I really need it under my boobs because I don't have 20-year-old boobs anymore, and they need a little bit more support on the bottom to keep them in because they will just like slip out the bottom. That's just reality. I also need it for my owlery blouse because I need a little bit around the collar of my owlery blouse to cinch it in. Then that top will be 100% completely finished. While I was there though, I could not just order a thing of elastic. While I was there, while I did it, I ordered a pack of DPNs. I say while I was there, it was Amazon. I don't order from there very often, but every once in a while I do. But these are the Knitter's Pride carbons, and I have a set of these in a size 2, and I love them for knitting my DK weight socks. Absolutely adore them. But sometimes I think that I might rather use a size 3 for my DK socks, and so I got them. Now I have both as an option. These are basically both the size 2 and these will be almost exclusively DK weight sock needles. But I love them. I really like the Knitter's Pride carbons. They feel really nice in the hand in knitting with them. They have nice points. The last acquisition I got is the most exciting one. This is, oh, it's making noise. I don't know if you can see that, but this is a bag from Barrett Wool Co. It's cute. It came in this little bag, and I'm gonna use it as a little project bag, I'm sure. But this is, before I show you the colors I got, this is the Crunkled Socks Kit from Barrett Wool Co. And if you, like I said, if you're watching me, I'm sure you probably also have watched the Bakery Bears. And Kay on the Bakery Bears a few episodes ago also purchased the Crunkled Socks Kit because the Crunkled Socks are her pattern. But Barrett Wool Co. made a little kit for them, and it is a sock set using their home, I don't remember the name and I don't want to butcher it, but it is their, it's a rustic fingering weight sock yarn. There's no nylon, it's a nylon-free sock yarn. But I really loved the color when Kay was showing it on Bakery Bears on the podcast, and I just went ahead and bought the same color sock set. So I'm really bad because I don't remember the name of this color, but it's this gorgeous bubblegum pink, and it came with this green, grassy green color. Perfect for spring. It's very squishy and plump. I just love it. I love how chalky and bubblegummy this looks. Perfect. Beautiful. And not only did it come with this and in its little bag, it came with a coaster that is sitting on my desk, and it also came with a little tin of light bulb stitch markers, which is super cute. And this was a very reasonably priced little kit. but I love all the little bonuses. What a pleasant surprise. I didn't expect any of that. I actually just expected yarn. But that is my only other acquisition. I kind of really want to cast these on. I have a couple of like lacier sock patterns that would really benefit from a tonal yarn that I really want to knit. There's one from D19 Eco-Friendly Life that I purchased during like towards the start of the war to support because they are a Ukrainian designer. I purchased one of their sock patterns that is lace around the cuff and then pretty plain for the rest of the sock, which is really my speed. Getting through a cuff is so much easier than having an entirely patterned sock. I think I might do that pattern with these and just do the cuff or just the heel and toe in this color. Maybe. I'll think about it. I have a few. I also have the 52 Weeks of Socks book. There might be a sock pattern in there that I want to use. But I am so excited about this. And it came super quickly. Like, I feel like I only bought it a few days ago. It arrived very, very quickly. I do have a couple more acquisitions like coming, but I don't know like when they're gonna get here or anything. I'm just kind of like, I'm just living, just trying to make it, just trying to get day by day. But that's it for yarny stuff. I can do a little bit of life update things, I guess. I already updated you about Brad's new computer. That's very exciting. Has nothing to do with me, but it's still very exciting. Except I am very proud of his new computer because I did most of the work. I have never built a computer before, but I have a pretty good intuition when it comes to machines and like being able to take things apart and put them back together. It's just something I've always like had a little bit of a knack for. And there was only, it went very smoothly, very easily, except we had one hiccup because his pre-built was a Dell and they're notoriously difficult to modify yourself. So the motherboard was built differently than a standard motherboard that you would buy from somewhere not Dell. So we had a little bit of issues with that, but overall I was very proud. Besides that, we went to Easter with my grandparents. Pud has been sleeping ever since. He had a great time. He loves visiting people. My grandma loves him. Everything else I think is art. Oh no, I do have one update. Oh. Let me give you an art update real quick and then I'll tell you about the exciting thing that I forgot about. I launched my Kickstarter for my enamel pins. I'm doing a Kickstarter campaign for 4 enamel pin designs for now, one for each season of the year. And we were funded. We had a couple of cancellations and now we're not quite funded, but we still have like 12 or 13 days left in the Kickstarter. I will put it below if you want to check it out and get some cutie enamel pins. I would love to be able to get to a couple of the freebies too. The more we earn, the more pins I can order. So anyways, I'll put that down below. It's going pretty well. And then I've decided, I don't know if any of you are interested in the art side of things, but on Instagram there is a challenge that happens every year in May called Mermay in the art community, where people like to draw mermaids for the month of May. And normally I participate. I did not last year or the year before, I don't think. I think I took the past 2 years off because I was having a really hard time in general with art and my mental health. But this year I'm going to participate again and I have already planned out my prompts for the year. Very exciting. If you want to see mermaids, feel free to check it out. Follow me there. On my art Instagram, I'll also have it linked below. I think that's it actually for big art updates. But I had other news that is more knitting related. I have decided to not get another part-time job, but my friend who runs the local yarn shop that I go to knit nights at, she asked me to cover one day, like one shift this month, next month at the shop because she didn't have anyone to cover the shift. And I had another person that I know tell me that, like, oh, well, maybe you should work in the yarn shop, you know. She really only needs people like once every, in a while. It's not even like you'd be working every week or anything. It's like once or twice a month. And I decided, okay, I'd say yes. So I am supposed to be going Thursday to the yarn shop to get trained and like learn how to use their POS system and practice talking to customers and stuff. And then I'll be picking up a day at the yarn shop if she needs one covered just every once in a while. So it's not like an actual part-time job, but will still be nice to get out of the house, spend some extra time in the yarn shop. But yes, that is all I have, I think. I could talk for an eternity about all of the projects that I would like to cast on, but I think one per episode is probably enough. Or two per episode, because I talked about my twinkle sweater and I also talked about my crunkled sock kit socks that will not be crunkled socks. So I guess that's enough. And it is 11:11, make a wish. I'm gonna call it for the day. I thank you so much for joining me again. I hope you have a lovely day. If you like this sort of vibe, this casual kind of chatty, rambly vibe, please feel free to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.